Chimaev is just I mean, I was here when he retired from COVID, bro. I was training with him. Like, he's just a you know, it's like, if you knew, I always say there's guys, if you knew on a personal level you wouldn't like, Chimaev is one of those people if you knew you wouldn't like. You know, he'll come in here, there's a video of me, I always like, oh, you're so good. Khamzat, understand, you're better than everybody. So just don't hurt people. Like, I'm being sarcastic, like, bro, like, you go and you fucking starch this 1-on-1 guy when there's like Edmund, there's like high-level UFC fighters, and you're picking the one-on-one fighter because like you think he's the same height as your opponent. No, you're picking him because you're a bitch, dude. Like, it's just, yeah, he's just like, no, he could fight, but like mentally, he's just a weak man, you know, he's just a weak man.
Если человека менталитет нету нашего, что его спрашивать? Если дурак есть дурак, что ты будешь учить его?
The girls are fighting again, and it is messy. Pride is on the line. Egos are on the line, and the receipts are everywhere. Before we dive in, I am still a little sick, but I feel a lot better than I did earlier this week. Regular uploads resume now. Thanks for your patience. And if you like these breakdowns, hit like and subscribe so you do not miss the next one. On Wednesday, a new Shawn Strickland interview dropped. He had choice words for Khamzat Chimaev. He said Khamzat is a weak man. He said Khamzat picks easy rounds. He claimed he once told Khamzat he was good, but Dave was being sarcastic. He said Khamzat crushes lower-level pros in the gym. He pointed at a clip where Khamzat picked a guy because he was the same height as his next opponent. He implied there were higher-level guys right there. Edmund. He said there were real UFC killers available, but Khamzat chose a 1-on-1 fighter, and then he called him weak again. Right off the bat, we have to talk about the massive hypocrisy here. Shawn Strickland complaining about anyone going hard in sparring is wild. This is the same guy with mountains of footage beating the brakes off people who have no training. He has the longest fight time against online influencers in UFC history, and he does not even knock most of them down. He dropped Izzy with a clean right hand. Yet that weirdo Sneo stayed on his feet the entire time. Even when Shawn was throwing full force. To be clear, I do agree with one part. A fighter as good as Khamzat should not be pulverizing his training partners on a regular basis. Protect your room, grow your stable. Do not wreck your teammates for ego. If anyone should not be preaching this, it is Shawn. If you really feel that way, stop beating up kids on camera. Stop agreeing to spar untrained internet guys while a dozen phones record you. And if you hate influencers as much as you Sayo, do maybe stop hanging out with them so much. This is not only about internet nerds either. There are plenty of clips of Shawn going wild with trained fighters too. He is less reckless with pros than he is with untrained guys, which is hilarious in its own way. But if he is going to cry about Khamzat ground and pounding a guy too hard, or ripping a submission too hard, then is he going to admit he crossed the line when he head kicked a lower level sparring partner who could barely stay upright? The guy was stumbling around. He was not on Shawn's level, yet Thekik still went up. Go back to that clip. Listen to the sideline reaction as it lands. Everyone knows it was too much. Shawn also says that when he told Khamzat he was so good he was being sarcastic. There is video of that talk. He goes up to Khamzat and says, Bennis. He says, do not hurt people. He says, understand, you are better than most. You are better than everyone. That does not sound sarcastic. It sounds like a senior guy telling a younger killer to dial it back. Why try to rewrite that role years later? Shawn is going to Shawn. Now listen to Khamzat's response. He was asked about Extreme Couture in Vegas and training with Shawn. He said no one said anything to his fist when he was there. He said as soon as he left and his visa got stopped, that started. He said, I'm in LA now. If it is personal, come. See me wherever you want, Octagon or not. I am here. I have criticized Khamzat in the past, yet he sounds like he has grown up a lot. This answer makes Shawn look like a man shield, which is saying something. Credit where it is due though. Back then, Shawn did tell Khamzat Tacho in the room without blowing up the gym vibe. He made his point and kept it moving. That was the right way to handle it in the moment. But all this weakman talk years later reeks of bitterness. You said your piece. Move on. Speaking of bitterness, this is not the first time Shawn questioned whether Khamzat is a real man. He went on a wild rant. He said Khamzat went back to Chechnya and sucked off a dictator. He said he sold a Bitcoin scam. He even dropped the Chechen line more than once. He said Theo knows he is not a man. He said he will never be a man. He said anyone who fights that guy is going to get a paycheck. You can smell the sour grapes from here. So why is Shawn so salty? The root of the beef goes back to Theshik Stretch. when they trained together. Check the Shimo interview from March 22 too. Shawn admitted how those rounds went. The Schmo asked if Khamzat did Wade does on the ground. Shawn pushed him for an honest take. The Schmo said, yeah, made you tap a couple of times. You could tell the world or not. Shawn said you can tell them. He then tried to deflect with his man game line. The Mandans. Props to him for being candid, even though he tried to soften it with nonsense. Sometimes you are the hammer. Sometimes you are the nail. That day he was the nail. And that is okay. It is Sparring. Fast forward to October 2023. Khamzat was about to fight Chimaev. During media, he spoke about Shawn winning the middleweight belt. He said, I have taken him down. I have held him down. I have choked him. I have punched him. He said there is nothing special there. He called Shawn a good fighter, heckled him an American cowboy type. He said they worked together in the gym. Hess said if the UFC offered that fight for the belt, he would take it. He said he levels above. He said it is a different stratosphere. That was the moment the friendly thing died. I have mixed feelings about what Khamzat said. On one hand, that was out of line. You do no tear out sparring. Not in MMA, not in boxing, not if you respect the room. Sparring is to help both guys grow. Results do not matter. There is almost always a winner and a loser in the room, but the loser often learns more. On the other hand, Shawn had already told the world he got beat up, so Khamzat may have felt like the door was open. There is a difference between one session and saying, I beat him every week. I get that, but the rule is the rule. Do not bring Theron to the mic, even if you think the other guy did it first. Shawn did not like that at all. A couple weeks later, he told Astri. He said he made a joke about Chechnya that was meant as a compliment. Khamzat misunderstood and messaged him talking underscore. Shawn said, I will see you tomorrow at 3. Gloves or no gloves? Turn up. Then he says Khamzat did not show no answer. Later they talked it out. He also said Khamzat can fight. He said he'll beat Usman to a decision. Then he slipped in a dig about Usman being old and retired. And then he went full Shawn. He said me and him are different. He said I will fight that man to the death right here knowing I am going to die. Come on, Shawn. You are not fighting anyone to the death. The only people you go that hard with are YouTubers who are half your size. And by the way, in that same clip, he calls Khamzat a good fighter. So this week's claim that he was always being sarcastic is pure code. Say you are bitter and movian. No need to pretend the tape does not exist. Side note here. Don Fry is sitting next to him in that clip. You can feel Shawn trying to impress him. Don is who Shawn wants to be. A real world tough guy. Don has quiet confidence. He does not need to yell. Shawn tries to fill that gap with volume and chaos. It comes off like an act, a caricature of a tough guy, not the real thing. A couple months later, Khamzat doubled down. He said, ask that guy was beating you every day in the gym. How many times did I beat him? Hesed Shawn went to his coach and asked for mercy. Please tell the guy go easy. He said Shawn is lying about singling out the one fighter in the pie in the room. He said when he punched Shawn hard, Shawn asked the coach to slow it down. Again, there is no way for us to know the truth. None of us were there. One of them is me. You can guess who you think it is, but no one outside that room can say for sure. A few months after that, Khamzat tripled down again. Same message, same tone. Which brings us full circle. Shawn is still calling him a weak man in 2025. The same real man speech since 2023. Meanwhile, Khamzat seems to be over it. He shrugs. He says, I am here. If it is personal, come see me. And that is it. At this point, Shawn is the only one keeping the beef alive. I get being annoyed. I even get being mad for a few months. But years of this is overkill. Khamzat lives rent-free in Shawn's head. He has moved his mail there. He has picked his bedroom. The furniture arrives next week. The lease is long-term. That is how deep this is. One more thing. For all the talk, Shawn has never called Khamzat out with a date and a venue. He speaks in hypotheticals. If we fight it is to death, I will fight anyone. I will fight him right here. That is not a call-out. A call-out is I want Khamzat Chimaev on this date on this card. Say it or not. He wants to keep the all-American tough guy image. I get that. Butano, he makes real moves to book a fight. I will assume he does not want smoke, which is fine by the way. Khamzat is a scary matchup. I would not want to fight him either. But if you will not set it up, stop with the not a real man speech. It makes you sound like a bitter ex who cannot move on. Let us also circle back to the gym stuff because that is the seed of all this. There is a code. You keep sparring in the room. You protect training partners. You do not cherry pick easy rounds to feed your ego. You don't crush new pros to look dominant while real killers are standing 5 feet away. If Shawn saw Khamzat do that, then calling it out in private was fair. Headed that. Good. But dragging it out years later on podcasts, why you're so fit. Up untrained influencers on camera is wild. You cannot be the face-off restraint when you go full bully for content. And that head kick clip still bothers me. The guy could barely stand. He was much lower level. Kick still came. That was out of line. If you are going to rant about ground and pound that goes too hard or submissions cranked too far, you have to own that moment too. You do not get to throw stones from a glass house while the cameras roll doc, to be fair to both guys. There is a reason this is dragged on. They are competitive lunatics. That is why they are elite. It is hard to let any slight go. It is hard to let the other guy have the last word. Shawn took his lumps in sparring and talked about it. Khamzat took that as a green light and bragged later. Shawn felt disrespected and got louder. Khamzat stayed on massage and told him to pull up. And here we are. Where does it go from here? The fight is there. If the UFC wants it, it will be a massive event. The bill will be nuclear. The storyline is easy. Former training partners, old sparring rounds, pride, respect. Who is the round man? But it only means something if both guys actually want it. If Shawn keeps it hypothetical, it dies on the vine. If he steps up with a date, it becomes real. Let me know what you think about Shawn's constant trash talk. Do you think he actually wants to fight Khamzat? And who would win if it happens? As always, if you like the video, then like the video. And if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I appreciate you for watching. See y'all on the next one. Bye.